Hello and welcome to the preview of Manchester United taking on Tottenham Hotspur in their first Premier League match of the season. I've got with me Joey to discuss the game. Now, it's quite a difficult game from on the opening day of the season last year, but we didn't really get a great pre-season last year. We had a few injuries to start the season off with, and we played probably too many games for Louis van Gaal's liking, and players were coming back in dribs and drabs from the World Cup. Do you think we can start the season off with straight away with a bang this time around?
Well, I think the difference between this season and last season is we've done our business early. You know, we've gotten the four in that we want. You know, we got the four players in. Sorry, I'm just hearing an echo. Are you hearing that?
No, I can't hear anything, no.
All right, hopefully I'm not echoing. It's just me in my own ear. Yeah, so we got these four players in right before the tour. They've had a full preseason to assimilate with the team, get some fitness. I still don't think Schweinsteiger is completely match fit. He picked up a small knock around the second or third game against Barcelona. So I don't think he's going to be ready to play a full 90 minutes coming this weekend. But I think it's there. I mean, we have a decent team. Last year, the first game of the season, we played the 3-5-2. You know, players weren't really sure about Van Gaal. They'd only been with him for, less than a month almost. So I think, you know, there is no excuse not to start well. I still think there's some business to be done. Obviously, Pedro is the one they're talking about. But if they can get off to a good start and it's pretty favorable, I mean, Tottenham are going to be a tough team, but they're going to be really tired. After that, there's play about 5 or 6 games between now and the end of August. The Champions League one I'm worried about because I think we're going to play a tough opponent. But there's, Aston Villa's in there, one of the newly promoted teams is in there. Yeah, so it's all there for us to start well. I think we might start well. I think we'll beat Tottenham this weekend. And I would not be surprised if the club do more business beyond Pedro. But getting a good start is very key because you don't want to play catch up all season. You want to be there or thereabouts. That's what Chelsea was last year. Right out of the gate, Chelsea played fantastic football, and they jumped into a pretty decent sized lead by October, November.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. We really need to hit the ground running this time. Louis van Gaal really doesn't have any excuse this time because he's had a full pre-season. He's got to know all the players throughout the whole season, which players he wants to keep, which players he doesn't want to keep. So he should really have sorted all this stuff out. I mean, there are still a few problems in the team, but over the years, we have actually had a history of finishing the season stronger than we've actually started it under, obviously, Sir Alex Ferguson. We didn't always used to start the season very well, did we? But I think it is critical this year because, obviously, Chelsea set the pace last year and never really looked back, as you said. So I'm expecting a tough game from this game. I don't know how you see us sort of going about beating Tottenham because Tottenham they score goals and they concede goals. A bit like we could be this season again if we don't sort out the defence. So it could be an open and entertaining game, I think, because you never really know on these opening day fixtures, do you, really?
No, you don't, but I do think with Tottenham playing back-to-back games, Tuesday, Wednesday, not being able to travel back to London until I think today, then only being being in London for a short period of time before they travel to Manchester, I think, that I know, Austria or Germany, where they were, Munich, isn't the farthest trip, but it's still travel. You still want to be comfortable and in a good frame of mind going into the first game. So I do think they're going to be fatigued. I think that they have upgraded the defense. Toby Alderweireld is someone maybe we should add. I think he would be an upgrade over Phil Jones or obviously Johnny Evans. He showed that with Southampton last year. He can play in this league. But I am expecting us to come out, get in our shape, pass the ball around, lots of movement off the ball, get Tottenham moving and chasing shadows. Hopefully the weather's nice, it's warm. Because if we can get into our possession game, then we can wear Tottenham out even more. And once the legs go, the mind's gone, and that's when mistakes happen. Harry Kane will want to come out and probably score a goal at Old Trafford because last season, Chris Smalling stuck him right in his pocket. He did a fantastic job against them. I don't even remember Harry Kane playing. He did nothing in that game. I'm expecting to come through. Will that happen? We'll find out in 2 days. I would not be surprised if this is a 3-1 or a 3-0.
Yeah, I've been hearing that Tottenham aren't coming back till, I think, Friday sometime, so they're not going to have long to prepare for the game because it's an early game, obviously, 12:45 here in the UK. So hopefully that plays into Manchester United's favour, because I remember last year we played at Old Trafford against Valencia just before the start of the season, and Louis van Gaal wasn't really pleased about that game being played. So I don't know if you think we should stick with the same formation that he's been playing in the pre-season, because Wayne Rooney's sort of been the out-and-out striker with Memphis Depay in the number 10 role. I'm not really that favourable of him playing there. I'd prefer him out on the wing, but I don't know if you would continue to go with the formation, how he's picked, and the players he's sort of picked on the tour, or if you would change it up for this game at all.
Well, I mean, me personally, I wouldn't be playing Daley Blind at center back just because he's left-footed and you want to find a spot in the team for him. You know, I think he's a quality player to be a utility guy. We can fill in left back. He can fill in center back if you need him. Why are we playing a guy who's a midfielder at center back when we have Phil Jones and we have Chris Smalling? I might even see Johnny Evans there. I mean, don't hold me to that one. You know what I mean? Johnny Evans is a center back. Daley Blind isn't. So why are we even using this risk? It doesn't make sense to me. And I want to talk about that later, bringing us to transfers and center backs and things like that. But I think he's going to play 4-2-3-1. Now, if you remember, we did a video last year where I tried to explain Van Gaal's philosophy, where he has a defensive midfielder, the box-to-box, and the number 10. So now, 4-2-3-1, he's playing as 2 defensive midfielders, which gives that front four more freedom to be creative, take more chances, be risky, because you always have those 2 covering the back four. So I don't mind 4-2-3-1. I think that's what he's going to go into the game. I'll give you my team now. This is who I think he's going to pick, not who I would play. It'll be David De Gea, Luke Shaw, Darmian as a fullback, Blind is the left center back, Chris Smalling is the right center back, which makes because he played with Phil Jones choice in the preseason, but yet he made Chris Smalling no choice captain, and we know how he prioritized playing captain. So I think Chris Smalling will get the nod. I saw someone report that because of Phil Jones' performance against PSG. But in the holding midfielders, it'll be Schneiderlin and Carrick. I said earlier, I don't think Schweinsteiger has complete match fitness. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come on off the bench. And then the 3 behind Rooney will be Young, Memphis, Mata, and Rooney on the top as a lone striker. I think I'm not too fussed about Memphis playing behind the striker, to be honest. Because I think he's going to have a free role. He can drift out wide, left or right or in the center. He's going to have freedom, and it's good because you see the talent that the guy has, and to try and put a cap, or a positional sense where you have to play in the center or you have to play out wide. When you play out wide, you only have so much room to work with. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah, we just have to see really how Louis van Gaal wants to go with this. Maybe as the season progresses, we'll see Memphis take up more preferred position. But for now, obviously, it's a bit of an experiment. I mean, he's obviously new to the league, so we're going to have to see there. But the one player that's looking like he might not be in the team at the moment might be Ander Herrera. I mean, obviously, he was quality last season and scored quite a few goals for Manchester United. It will be a shame, wouldn't it, if he's the man that actually misses out on a regular basis. It seems from a lot of people that he probably won't. Well, it doesn't look like he will probably start on Saturday, which I don't know what your thoughts are on that if he doesn't play against Tottenham, because he was quality, wasn't he, towards the end of last season? And a lot of people were obviously crying out for him to play.
Who was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Ander Herrera.
Yeah, that's a strange one. For me, I wouldn't mind him in the 10 role. Or in a midfield 3 as the tip of the triangle. Yeah, I mean, Herrera just doesn't. I don't know what the guy's going to do. He was probably our best player last season for me, all around. The guy scores goals, he tackles, his passing, his creativity. everything about him. Like, he has the potential to become a really, really good player. And it just seems that Van Gaal doesn't fancy him. I don't know if it's because he sent him to buy, but he wasn't his. But here's for me, Andrew Herrera is going to be at the club longer than Louis Van Gaal is, I think. So I'm not too fussed about that. There's going to be a lot of games this season, and I think Herrera will get his chance, and I think he'll show his quality.
Yeah, I really do hope you're right, because we've bought a lot of we've got a lot of midfielders in there now, so we're going to have to see how. Obviously Carrick's probably not going to be able to play every single game, but I would expect him to play this one, because last season, obviously, when we didn't play Michael Carrick, the performances and the win percentage really did drop. So hopefully Michael Carrick can stay fit. But as you said, with a lot of games coming up, this is pretty tough to start the season off. I know, luckily, we've got a home game to start the season off. You really do want to start off the season with a home game. But hopefully, Andrew Herrera can come on if needed in the game at some point, because he definitely does deserve his chance in the team after last season. a lot of Manchester United fans weren't happy when he wasn't playing earlier on in the season. But where do you see Tottenham causing us the main problems? Because obviously there's been talk in the last 24 hours about another bid maybe for Harry Kane, but I think that's a bit of bullshit, to be honest. I don't think we're going to get him now. But I presume that he's probably your would be the main threat for you, wouldn't he? Because he scores a big chunk of their goals. Him
and Eriksen. I'm not sure about anyone else. Harry Kane is a quality player. You spoke about the bid, and then some commentator says something about it, and everybody goes nuts on Twitter. That's what it's become. People. I don't know if they're so desperate to happen, but it seems like transfers are 80% of what people care about when they talk about football. It's mad. It's crazy. But yeah, Christian Eriksen is a real creative player. He's got an eye for all. Good set pieces. Good at free kicks. Can deliver the ball in the corners, like I was just saying. So those two players, I think, are the ones you have to worry about. I'm interested to see. Look, if I'm Pochettino and I'm the opposition manager, and Daley Blind's going to play center back, I'm going to tell Harry Kane to be all over him. Be on that left side of our back four, trying to make runs behind him, running at him. So, yeah, I think Harry Kane running at Daley Blind will be something we could worry about. And in the air, too, Harry Kane will destroy Daley Blind.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really understand this philosophy of playing a left-sided central defender and a right-sided central defender, but that seems to be the way Louis Van Gaal wants to obviously go. But see, Sir Alex Ferguson obviously likes to build the partnerships, but it seems that for me that Phil Jones just isn't going to come on. I think he's had I think it's 3 seasons, isn't it, or 4? Maybe this is his 4th season now, I think, at Manchester United, and so far he's never really got a good run in the team. I know injury hasn't helped, but it seems to me like his career sort of stagnating a bit, like what we had happen with Raphael, and now obviously Raphael's gone, but. Hopefully we can get another centre back in before the transfer window's over. But I think you seem pretty confident about a win in this game, even though we've got to play Daley Blind most likely at the centre back position. I don't know what sort of scoreline you'd go for in this game.
3-1. Rooney double with Mata scoring the third. I think it'll be key for Wayne Rooney to get off the mark. I think it'll be real key. If we can get Rooney scoring goals early in the season, then that'll do world of good for his confidence. It'll get the team going. If we don't bring in another striker, we're gonna be relying heavily on Wayne Rooney. So it's vital that Wayne Rooney gets off the mark. So yeah, 3-1. I think it'll be hard to keep Kane quiet. Like I said with Daley Blind, I think he's gonna be all over him, and we are prone to a mistake, and it is early in the season. We're not going to be completely match sharp, but I expect us to comfortably win.
Yeah, I think we probably will win this game, but I don't know if it'll be quite as comfortable as you think. I think probably maybe 2-1. But as you said, I'd really like to see Wayne Rooney get off the mark early in the season, because in the past when he's got off the mark, whether it's been coming back from an injury or whatever. It's been usually a period of time where he's gone on a run. So that's a great would be a great thing to happen, because obviously, as you say, we're going to have to rely on him mainly for the goals. But I don't know what you see, how you see the season planning out prediction wise, because we still haven't obviously finished with the transfer market. We've got probably another couple of players really to come in. Obviously, it looks like Pedro's going to come in, but we're still a little bit short up front, aren't we? And obviously that centre-back position, we're not short, but we haven't really got many great centre-backs in the team. Most of them are pretty average or rubbish at best.
Yeah, you're right. I think I was watching Breed Sport, and they had Ian Wright and Robbie Savage up there, and he was talking about the top four, and he was saying it's there for someone to take. You know, for me, I'll give you my top four prediction right now. This is obviously could change at any minute. City could go out and get Otamendi and De Bruyne, and for me, they would be the favorites. You know, for me, right now, without it changing, I have City in fourth, and I'll give you a reason why. I think Sterling could be good for them. I think it's going to be massive pressure on that young kid. You know, obviously he can't do nothing about the price tag, but I think he will be a good player for them, because, you know, he'll create space for Aguero and he'll help, you know, David Silva and things like that. But I think for Manchester City, there's too many players that are close or over 30. And they kind of remind me of after we won the title and David Moyes, that he didn't strengthen. Same thing when they won the title the first time. They didn't really strengthen a lot in the summertime, and it came back to bite him in the ass. And then third, I put us third, because I just think that over the course of 38 games, you cannot go, you know, Daley Blind, Phil Jones, you need someone to partner Chris Smalling. You know, obviously there's still questions about Rojo. Can he get it done? Can he be a starting center back for Manchester United? Can you win the league with Smalling pairing? Because I think the fullbacks are good enough, and I think David De Gea is good enough. I put Arsenal second because I think Petr Cech will make a huge difference. They could win the title, but they're not. You know, they'll be there or thereabouts. But the mental thing with Arsenal will get to them. They're already gotten. You know, Jack Wilshere's already injured. You know, what happens if Coquelin goes down? You're gonna put Arteta in there? I don't think so. And it's with Chelsea. I think they didn't strengthen enough. I think that, you know, when you're on top and you have a team as good as them, go out and buy a quality player. You know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but, you know, Chelsea, you know, if they were to get a John Stones, because how many games is John Terry going to play? That would really refresh in the squad. You need those new faces, that competition for places. But like I said, that could change at any second. You know, City go out, buy Otamendi and De Bruyne, and like I said, they're my favorites. Same thing with us. We go out, we get Otamendi, and then we go out and get a real quality center forward, or even, you know, a Gareth Bale. Then we're the favorites. So it's there for any team to take. And it'll be interesting, because I think there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of business still to be done. I don't think Premier League clubs have spent nearly close to as much as they have in the past. But I do want to say I really like the business that Crystal Palace and Stoke have done. I think I know this is about, you know, United in the top 4, but I think those two teams could be in the top 10, 11. I'm really impressed with Palace bringing in Cabaye, keeping what they have, and getting Connor Wickham in. So I think Palace have done it. Stoke, you know, Ibrahim Afellay, and they brought in another Barcelona player, I believe. I mean, that's fantastic. That's good business by, you know, it just shows what our league is becoming. Well, it is now, but you got teams like Stoke buying players like that in the transition for style. It's awesome. I think, you know, the Premier League for me is the best league in the world, not just because of, you know, the marketing and things like that, but I really enjoy the competition. Any team could win on any given day.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
What's your
totally
top 4?
My top 4 would be pretty much similar to yours, really. I think Manchester United could probably finish second, but I would probably say third. But I'm not so sure what's going to happen with Arsenal. I think probably Arsenal maybe could be fourth. I'm not sure, because I think probably Man City will at some point get a good run together with the striking options and the attacking players that they have at the club, because I think probably Sterling will give them a bit more going forward still as well. So, I mean, with Sergio Aguero banging in goals, I think that they could still score. Because they did score more goals than anyone last season, but obviously in some of them big games, like against us, they didn't stop the goals from going in. So if they can sort out that defence, I think probably they could still get that second spot. But I think them three teams, Manchester United and Man City and Arsenal, it could all change around. But I still think Chelsea are favourites for me. But as you said, there hasn't been any real strengthening from Chelsea as such, because they're weaker in the backup goalkeeper, because Petr Cech's gone and they've got Begovic in, which is a decent goalkeeper, but he's not really a replacement for Cech. And you've got Falcao in, who at this moment in time still looks as shit as he was last season. And I'm hoping that he will stay as shit as he was. So, if Diego Costa stays injured, then it could actually be any of the top four that could still, I feel, win the league this year. I know some have ruled Arsenal out, but I think that they have got they've managed to hold on to most of their quality players recently, and the likes of Sanchez and Ozil could cause a lot of teams some problems. I don't know if you've got any other thoughts you want to say on the transfers tonight, because obviously you're learning a bit about Ramos rejecting a contract, aren't you?
Yeah. Apparently, according to Cadena SER, Sergio Ramos has rejected that contract offer, and it seems like this one's going to go to the deadline. You would think that if that's the case, and I also want to speak about the comments that were credited to David De Gea's girlfriend, Edern, or however you said her name. She tweeted out that she didn't make those comments, that they were words put in her mouth. Either way, I think if this is the situation, and De Gea, obviously he wants to go. How bad did Madrid want him this year and next year? We'll find out. I think, if we brought in Sergio Ramos, then I would definitely put a second challenging for the title, and Pedro. So, I mean, if that's the case, hopefully it'll happen. But yeah, apparently he rejected a contract. AS picked up the story now, and who knows what's going to happen with that one. Pedro looks certain to come in almost. There's rumors that there's personal terms agreed, but the clubs haven't agreed a fee. The word is Louis van Gaal wants him for the playoff, which is the 18th, I believe, next Friday. No, the follow. 2 Wednesdays from now. So, for me, I want to talk about Pedro real quick. I think Pedro is a great signing for us because he's disciplined. He'll do what Louis van Gaal asks of him. He'll put in the ship. He'll get back. I just feel like, in Barcelona, he's used to the possession, the pressing game, and he'll be a great signing. I think maybe he fits us more than Di Maria does. Obviously, Di Maria is way more talented than him, but as you can see, he doesn't want to play for us. The little rat went to Paris Saint-Germain today. Good riddance. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. But I think, we were just saying, if United go out and get Sergio Ramos or Otamendi and then get a big-name center forward or even a backup, a Berahino, an Austin, for me, they could really challenge for the title because I think our midfield's sorted out. We have incredible depth in the midfield, and my expectations for Memphis aren't high, but I think that he could surprise a lot of people, maybe pop in 10 goals this year.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you pretty much there. I don't think many teams need a lot to win the Premier League because
there's so many teams that are like we're saying that are so close. City, just like us, need a center back. And maybe De Bruyne. And for me, that's a pretty good team. Sterling, Silva, De Bruyne, Aguero as your front four. That's pretty fucking good, man. Arsenal, they need another defensive midfielder for me because I don't think Coquelin can stay healthy the whole year. But if Arsenal go out and get Karim Benzema, which I think we should be all over, if that's the case and Benzema is somewhat available, fuck Sergio Ramos. We can get Karim Benzema and Otamendi. Would you rather not have Karim Benzema and Otamendi and keep – well, no, you're going to lose De Gea there. I'm sorry. Or would you rather have Sergio Ramos and whoever center forward? I think Benzema could be a great player in our league. I think he would be good for us. Louis van Gaal likes that big, strong striker. He tried to bring in Falcao, typical number 9. He bought Mario Gomez when he was at Bayern Munich, who I was a big fan of. I thought he was a very good player in his day, which was like 3-4 years ago. So, yeah, Chelsea, they just need, a John Stones and maybe another midfielder because for me, Falcao hasn't shown any reason to be a number 2 at Chelsea. And same thing with Loic Remy. Loic Remy's a good player, but I don't think, he can get it done for you if Costa goes down for a real long period of time. And Costa has had some injury issues in the past. So like you said, every team in the top 4 right now is about 1 or 2 players away. Chelsea are already there. I just think they need a refreshing. But City, Arsenal, and United are 1 or 2 players away from really being there and being there till the end. As for Liverpool, I think they're going to struggle to get in the top 4. I think that, Brendan Rodgers is going to be under massive, massive, massive pressure from the day one. What happens if Stoke come out and put another beating down on him? It's going to be thin ice for him. I think there's too many number 10s there. I don't think a midfield of James Milner and Jordan Henderson can get you into the top 4. I think, Jordan Henderson is an okay player. Same thing with James Miller, but I don't think they're good enough to get you into the top 4. Especially, you look at the top 4's midfielders, Yaya Toure, Fernandinho, Coquelin, Cazorla, Ramsey, Schneiderlin, Carrick, Schweinsteiger, Herrera. Chelsea have, Fabregas, Matic, Mikel, Ramirez, and then who do Liverpool have? So for me, they're still, 5th, 6th. But yeah, gotta be, it makes no sense, unless Louis van Gaal just, if he's really happy, okay. But for me, seeing how close you are, you only have another year left on your contract, and Louis van Gaal will be under pressure this season to deliver because of the money that's been spent, and because of last year, the football wasn't that great at times. It was really hard to watch, but we all stuck by him. If he doesn't come out this year and finish 3rd, and win a cup or really, really, really challenge for the league, there'll be questions about him. You got Pep Guardiola available. You got Carlo Ancelotti available. Dortmund's old coach. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now. I'm going off. You have those type of managers available. For me, Ancelotti is the first choice to replace Van Gaal. So there will be pressure on him. But it makes no sense to me. If you got the money, we just sold Di Maria, not to mention even if we kept them, we still have the money. Go out and buy a world-class center back. You can go and really challenge for the league if you go out and buy a world-class center back right now. There's one available, Otamendi. If you don't like him, even De Vrij. Throw another bid in for Hummels that they can't refuse. There's, I know there is a lack of world-class center backs out there, but Laporte is one of them. There's so many options out there. And why, for me, if Di Maria wanted to go to PSG and we knew that was happening, why not try and get Marquinhos off of them? Why not try and throw a player in that deal? Because we don't need the money. Who gives a fuck about the money? Trophies will earn you more money with sponsors and things like that. It just makes no sense to me that we're there, right there or thereabouts to win the league or challenge, and the additions are so obvious. Am I crazy, or am I like, is that me being a fan? Or is that a reasonable thing to think that these players are available? Certain of Otamendi is. Go out and get them and go win a fucking league title.
Yeah, sometimes it's probably just easier said than done to get all the players in you want. But I think the Otamendi one could happen quite easily, really. But it seems that maybe Louis van Gaal's still hoping that he can get Sergio Ramos in, although. Personally, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I would have, if you'd said to me that he was coming in, I would have really been shocked. So obviously we'll have to see what happens there. But hopefully the Pedro one can obviously be concluded in the next few days because I think it's since Barcelona won their first treble, he's actually scored more goals than any other player apart from Lionel Messi in the Barcelona team, which was about 2009. So that's quite good statistics, really. I know some players have come and gone, but they've still got some fantastic players in there. So, and he still played in about 50 games last season, even though some obviously were off the bench. So I think he could be a really good player for us because, Arsenal obviously bought Alexis Sanchez, who couldn't get in the Barcelona team. Maybe he obviously won't be as good as that, but he couldn't get in the team, and it was on a regular basis because they'd obviously bought Neymar and then were buying Suarez. So there's not really any shame in leaving Barcelona and coming to Manchester United. So hopefully we will get him in there, and then we can obviously challenge for the title, because at this moment in time, I think the top teams in the Premier League are a little bit off winning the Champions League. So I think it's a bit easier to win the Premier League than it was around sort of 2008 and 9, when you had to be the best team in Europe to win it. But it is still hard, obviously, to win. But I don't know if you've got.
That's one thing I want to touch. I think we should touch on too. The 5 opponents that we could possibly face in the Champions League are Bruges, Vienna, Lazio, CSKA Moscow, and Monaco. There's going to be a tough draw in there if we get a Monaco. Lazio are probably the 2 teams you don't want to play. CSKA Moscow, that's a long trip to Russia. And then the other 2 you would think are the more favorable ones. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think about that? Because I'm not nervous. I'm a little worried. It would be, I mean, could you imagine if we don't qualify for the Champions League? Holy shit, after, all that and the money and things like that, it would be I'd probably hang myself. I'm just kidding. Don't report me. But I wanted to ask you how it's kind of we had no teams last year in the quarterfinals. It was no English teams. English teams usually do. People forget how well they've done. Previously. At one point there was 3 out of 4 teams were English. I think it was 2009. And these things come in waves. Right now, obviously, the 2 Spanish clubs and Bayern Munich are dominating European football. But how do you think that teams will do in the Champions League? For me, I think Chelsea's probably the best chance to win it. But I think we have a manager who knows European football, and it's a little different when you play in the Champions League because you're granted more space. And teams actually come to play football. They're not going to sit there. Most teams, that we come up against aren't going to sit there and park the bus because we struggle against teams like that. Hopefully Memphis will solve that with, his pace and trickery and things like that. But I think we could potentially be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. So I wanted to ask your thoughts on that. Because even looking at City, I don't think they've done enough to win a knockout game, or even win their group for once. And Arsenal, they famously go out at the first hurdle in the knockout stages because of, they usually do get a tough draw, but last year they got a favorable draw and they kind of bottled it. So I wanted to ask how you think English teams would do in the Champions League. And anybody watching or watching this, if you made it this far, let us know in the comments how you think the English teams will do.
Well, personally, I'm not so confident that any of the English teams are actually going to win it this year, but obviously you never know. I mean, obviously you've said there Chelsea are probably the most likely, though I think I still don't think Chelsea are one of the top teams in Europe. I think they'd probably need another couple of players off the top level, because I feel that Barcelona and the likes of Real Madrid and that have still got the best players. I mean, you look at the likes of Ronaldo and Messi and Bale and Neymar and Suarez. They're all playing at the Barcelona or Real Madrid, so it's going to be hard for an English club to knock them to, and probably Bayern Munich will be there and thereabouts come the end. But I mean, if Mourinho gets often he does park the bus in some of them Champions League games. We've seen when he was Inter Milan manager and he did it against Barcelona. He put every man behind the ball in the second leg and somehow got through. So it is possible, but I don't really feel that any of the English teams have really got the best chance they've had in years. But obviously you never know with the luck of the draw. But as you said there, because this time around, obviously there's the champions going into the pot 1. So we could see Manchester United end up with a Barcelona or group stage. So it will be for us to probably get to the quarterfinals if we get a hard draw in that last 16 round. We'll have to see what happens there. I mean, there are a few favourable draws if we do get to the group stage, but Barcelona and teams like Bayern Munich are teams that we could possibly face in the group stage. So if we don't win our group in the group stage, then it could be hard. But I think if we got to the quarterfinal, I think that would be a decent season in the Champions League. Because obviously none of the teams got to the quarterfinal last season. So we'll have to see how it goes. But I'm not too sure that an English team's going to win it. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add before we finish up. Any more transfer news or anything you want to say?
No, but check me out on Twitter at Joey Tabor, and I do videos every Wednesday now with Strutty News TV, and I'll obviously do them with you too. We'll do a deadline day video where my top 4 could be completely different. Especially say Diego Costa tears his ACL. Maybe Chelsea I put second or whatever, or Arsenal do get Benzema, or we get Benzema. I think the top 4 will change between now and then, because I think it's so obvious that, like I was saying earlier, that there's players that you can get and really get the title and challenge for it. So yeah. Other than that, just leave a like on the video. Let us know your teams and your prediction, and have a good weekend. We'll see you after the game for the review.
Yeah, thanks to everyone for tuning in. Do make sure to give the video a like. It does help the channel out. And leave your thoughts in the comment section box below on how you think the game's going to go and any transfer news and predictions for the season. And we should be back straight after the match on Saturday. It's an early kickoff with our review of how the game's gone. So hopefully it will be a convincing victory. We would like that. So we will talk to you all again soon. Thanks for watching.